Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2024 Honda Prologue in the Elite trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 275/45 Bridgestone tires wrapped around 21-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and back. The name of this color is North Shore Pearl, and it kind of has that 90s teal style to it, I suppose. But yeah, it looks pretty good. It has a lot of gloss black cladding as well. I know a lot of people like that. So the front is almost completely enclosed except for the very bottom. You have the parking sensors across the front, radar adaptive cruise control there in the very center. But yeah, it doesn't have a big grill for a radiator and all that stuff. It just has to have some cooling for the climate control and the batteries. So it's pretty straightforward there. Nice and sleek look, and it's very wide looking as well because it is a wide vehicle. Now it has the camera here in the very center, fairly well integrated below the Honda emblem, and the camera system is fantastic. One of the things that's hard to convey on camera is how big this vehicle is. So you have to take into consideration that those are 21-inch wheels you're looking at right now. So they look proportional to the vehicle. So it just looks like a scaled up vehicle, you know. So 21-inch wheels, and they don't look overly large because it is a fairly big vehicle. So yeah, a lot of gloss black. The pillars, the side mirrors, the handles are also gloss black here on the side. Roof rails, side cladding, all that, in addition to that like an aqua teal green. This is what the key looks like, and it's basically a General Motors key. It says Honda on it, but everybody recognizes that as a General Motors key, basically. But it does have the lock, unlock, remote start, the ability to open up the power lift gate and a panic button. Physical key on the inside as well. But it's designed to where you can just keep it in your pocket, in a bag. As long as you have the key with you, you can use the vehicle, basically 100%. So you can see on the underside of the mirror is another camera there. The charge port is here. And there's no light for some reason. So at nighttime, you just gotta like feel around for it. Now the handle, it's not like a lot of other proximity key type systems. It's not like there's a sensor back here. It's only this press button. So you press it to lock the vehicle, you press it again to unlock. And there's a physical key location here. You just take that little cover off and you can access it there. You can actually see a little bit of it on the side there. Now the inside of the doors, you have the semi-soft touch here at the top, and then you have the more softer surfaces around your arm, and then you have the harder touch surfaces at the bottom. This is enclosed here. It does have a little rubberized bottom as well, so you can utilize that as a little pocket and a handle as well. And has that little space right here. It's a little bit limited, but you can put a bottle or whatever there on the door. Now the doors go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle and cover up the threshold to keep it relatively clean. And there's also a seal down here as well. Power seat here on the passenger side. You're able to go up, down, tilt, and all that stuff, and tilt the back. It just doesn't have lumbar adjustment like the driver's side. Now these are heated and vented seats, and they're very comfortable, high quality feeling seats. Look nice as well. Plenty of leg room. like I just can't stress that enough. There's just so much space in this vehicle. It has a little shelf area there that's accessible from the driver and the passenger if you can reach under there and see what you're doing. Lockable glove compartment here. Smooth plastic on the inside. More gloss black. And then you have a soft touch, kind of like a vinyl material there. And then a soft touch dash as well, non-reflective. Huge sunroof up here. We'll look at that later. The opening for the driver's door is incredible. It's just like huge. So getting in and out, no problem. You're not bumping your head or anything. The distance between the seat and the ground is perfect for most people. So getting in and out is excellent with that swing of the door, the opening, everything. The back door the swing of the door could be a little bit better. It doesn't swing open as much as I would like for it to swing open, but it's still fine. There's still a decent amount of room back here. Nowhere near the front though. You can see it's quite a bit smaller. So this little area right here kind of gets in the way, and it's just a smaller area, but still lots of room when you get in though, because look at that. Almost a completely flat floor back here. and just lots of space. Huge bench seat back here. The inside of these back doors is basically the same, except for you have the hard touch surfaces up here instead of the semi-soft. But yeah, has the latch system for car seats. There on the outer seats, there's the armrest, quite soft, cup holders. The seats recline slightly. And then you have these pockets on the back of these seats, little cubby hole, climate control vents, USB, and a power inverter as well. Now the power inverter is not marked, but it's like more than likely like 180 watts, something like that is usually typical of these type of vehicles. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has a shark fin antenna that's body colored, third brake light at the top of the glass here, little tiny wiper in the middle, which is kind of neat. It has a backup camera, offset of course, for some reason, just kind of tacked on like an aftermarket product. And then it has this metallic accent here on the back, parking sensors. You can press this button right here to lift it up, or you can use the key, of course. You can see this is just a hard touch surface there. The cargo area is very substantial back here. And even with the seats in place, which they do recline slightly, which doesn't really make a big difference as far as the cargo area, there's still plenty of room. Now the only thing is, this material here is very slippery. So whatever you put here is going to slide around unless you have secure it or put some kind of rubber mat back here. Now there is two LED lights, and we'll take a look at those at night to see how well they work. They're fairly bright, so they should work well. This is a hard plastic here on the sides. There's a place to put a shade if you want to do that. There's tie downs as well. And you can see where the seats kind of recline along that rail there. There's two positions, basically this forward position and then a more backward position. There's a 12-volt power supply here on the left side, kind of blending in. Under the floor here is some more cargo space. This is the charger that it comes with. It's a level 1 and level 2 charger. So basically right now the level 1, which is just a regular outlet, and then you can take that out and put this one in, which is the 220, which will give you the level 2 charging. But the way this particular unit is designed, it only goes up to 32 amps, which is fine. I mean, plenty for most people, but the vehicle is actually capable of going higher than that. So I have a 40 amp charger. It plugs in, goes to 40 amps, no problem. But 32 amps is fine for most people. You plug it in overnight, you'll have a full charge. To recline these seats, you just use this lever right here, and you can lower the seat. You can also take it and release it and push it all the way back. So it's a slight difference. You can see the difference right here between that seat and this seat. See, it doesn't move much, but it does give you some kind of comfort adjustment, I guess. But you can fold these seats down. It's a 60-40 split, and you can fold one seat down or the other to add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. Or you can fold them both down and get a really wide open space. It's one of the things that's hard to convey in this vehicle, unless you see it in person, is how wide it is. There's a lot of room, a lot of width room, which, you know, looking at the vehicle in pictures and videos, it's kind of hard to tell how big it is, partially because it has huge wheels, so it makes it looks like a normal sized vehicle. It's a proportional sized wheel. But yeah, it's very impressive how roomy this vehicle is. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Once again, plenty of room. The floor mat snaps in place. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, footrest. Lots of room. Let's take a look under the hood. So basically there's this latch right here, and you just pull it twice. One, and then the second pull releases it. So now all we have to do is just lift up on the hood. So there's no catch or anything. That second release, second pull was to release the hood, the safety catch, basically. So under here, there is no storage compartment or, you know, front trunk or anything like that. It's just components to make the vehicle go. So you also have the climate control, air conditioning system going on. You have the 12-volt power battery that's very easy to get to. And here's some of the main components for the electric system, the high voltage stuff. Anytime you see orange, it means the high voltage. So yeah, you can see in here, power steering. Basically, the only thing you're going to do lifting the hood is to put more washer fluid in it. That's basically it, unless you have a battery issue or something. This vehicle has a horsepower, all-wheel drive, horsepower of 288 and 333 pound-feet of torque. So this is an all-wheel drive system with a dual motor, so one in the front, one in the back. There is a range of estimated 273 miles, and basically they're estimating on a fast charge, you get a full charge in 60 minutes. So yeah, it's going to take a little while, this particular vehicle. You want to have a charger at home, basically. Now this one has the 85 kilowatt hour battery pack. The inside of the driver's door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. The blind spot detection system indicator is here on the side mirror, just a little indicator there. And so yeah, here's all the buttons here. It has power folding side mirrors, one touch up and down for the front windows. You have 2 presets and an exit mode for the power seat here in the front, which also has a lumbar adjustment, which actually this one, a lot of vehicles I'm adjusting the lumbar and I don't feel hardly anything. This one actually you could feel a good substantial support. So yeah, I was impressed when I first got in and started adjusting the seat, how well the lumbar adjustment and how it actually, you can feel it and actually does support your back. At least in my case, it does a better job than other vehicles. Here to the left of the steering column, there's electronic parking brake, there's sport mode, and then there is the lane keep assist system, which you can turn on or off. You have an auto hold, and then you have the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. Problem is, it's more than just the gauges, and I showed this in the night video. Basically, it dims everything. And the gauges are the brightest thing. So the more you dim the gauges, everything else gets dimmed. So it just doesn't really work well. It also has a tilt and telescoping steering column. You just lock it in place here. Know what's going on with the 0% going on over here. Let's see if that changes when I start it up. Yeah. Not sure why it said that, but yeah, 192 miles left. And relentless noises. So yeah, there's no notification or anything. It's just, hey, we're just gonna make a noise until you shut the door, is basically what it amounts to in this vehicle. No matter if this vehicle's on and this door is open, no matter what you turn off or whatever, it's gonna drive you crazy. Let's even just kind of out of curiosity, let's buckle the seatbelt. Okay, so the little seatbelt thing went away for the driver, but we still have this annoying sound. The headlights are not on or anything. So all it is just, you open the door, it makes noises. So yeah, that's one thing that becoming a problem for certain brands is like they have to constantly make noises. There's no possible way of turning them off. It's funny because I can not have my seatbelt on and I can drive the vehicle a little bit without getting any notifications yet. But how dare you open that door? You open the door, the notification is for the door. It's not even for the seatbelt. Oh man. So yeah, no, I can drive, no notifications. I'm just driving around here. But open up the door, I get yelled at. Me being 6 feet tall and having the seat all the way back and all the way down is like way too far back. So you could be really tall and drive this vehicle, no problem. And it's really wide and there's lots of leg room, no problem. Really like the steering wheel. It's leather wrapped, stitched there on the inside, and good thickness. Just feels really good. Very high quality feeling. And the metallic accents here. The steering wheel controls are a little bit different, I guess. But so like, see, you have these little toggle switches here for the cruise control. And you can turn it on, turn it off, set going down, resume going up. But this one right here, instead of going up and down for your distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, you only press it down and you just kind of like rest on the one that you want. I'd prefer to go up and down so I have more control over the distance instead of just one way. Here on the right side, it has the ability to change the screens here. Quickly go to your radio, voice recognition, heated steering wheel, and then this is where you have answer and hang up on your phone. So you have two different separate buttons. This one right here can change through your presets there on your radio, depending on what you're playing. Now, on the back of the steering wheel, this is fantastic. You have a volume knob or volume buttons here. So I love vehicles that have that. Jeep, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram all have this typically. The buttons that line up with your fingers on the back of the steering wheel for your volume. Here on the left side, it has this other button. I'll show you that in a second, but the up and down is to change through your tracks or whatever you happen to be playing, which is a little bit different than this one is for your presets. But it has this additional button up here that's easy to accidentally press that instead of the buttons below it. So see if you can see that. So you have this button here, and then you have the two buttons below that. But anyways, this button is for your engine braking or your regen braking. But basically, if you're going down a hill and you need to slow the vehicle down, then you press that, and it will slow the vehicle down and add a charge to the battery. That's why it shows a little icon there showing you that it's, you know, going to the battery, a little arrow to the battery. So yeah, this is pretty cool. It does a pretty significant job of slowing the vehicle down. Now, I'm on fairly level ground, so if you're on a steep downhill grade, I guess depends on how steep it is, how much it's going to slow you down. But it will slow you down, and it will add to the battery percentage. Now, the windshield wipers are here, and basically it's a little bit different. So the front one's controlled here, the back one's controlled here, and you just kind of like, there's a little flipper knob here on the back right here, and then you can kind of roll it to what you want to have. Now, it is a rain sensing system, so if you turn it on and you leave it on and it stops raining, it's just going to stop wiping, right? But then when it starts raining again, it'll start wiping again. So it's pretty cool. You just got to make sure if you're going to like a car wash or something, you turn it completely off. And then there's the rear wiper there. Now, the screen. Remember I mentioned you can change the screen. You just press that button. Just kind of cycle through it here. There's that one, and then you have the navigation map. And then you have this third view here, which is the more emphasis on the adaptive cruise control lane keep assist system there in the center. But it has, you know, of course, your digital speedometer, and then it has this little dial here for your battery percentage here. And then this is like a little charge meter, basically how much energy you're using versus how much you're regenerating. I like the way it has a digital clock, outside temperature, calendar. Now it shows the miles to empty here. I wish it had like a numeric value for the battery percentage instead of just this little bar. And it shows you how much energy you're using or regenerating right here. So it's in kilowatts. So as you're driving, it'll kind of show you in real time what's going on, which is kind of neat. Now here's the shifter. It's a little bit different than a lot of shifters. Basically, you press this button here on the end to put it in park, which is in park now. If I want to drive, I just pull in and go down like that. Now I'm in drive. If I want to go in reverse, I pull in and go up. If I want to go in neutral, I press and hold it in, and it'll go in the neutral. And I want to go in park, I just press this button again. Now, when I put it in neutral or reverse here, the two things will happen. The parking sensors will be active, but then you also have, which work really well, and then you have the camera system, which is excellent. So you have this top-down view, and then you have the front or rear view, depending on what you want to look at. So let me just put it in park. And let's go to the home screen here, and you can hit camera. So you can view the camera without being in reverse or whatever. So right now it's showing the front view. You can see I'm trying to get away from the sun. So I'm kind of like tucked under behind these trees. But you can see the position of the car in relationship to these lines. You can see the grass there. Everything, even though these are 4 cameras stitched together, they're stitched together properly to where we have straight lines and accurate view of a top down of the vehicle. And then this front view is here. So if we hit this button, we can go to the rear view quickly. We can also get the top down view of the front or the top down view of the back specifically. Or we can go back to this view. Right there. Right there. Now, if you want this view, which is right now showing the front wheels. So as I turn the steering wheel, you can see the front wheels are turning, so we can get a precise view of where they are in relationship to, say, a curb or something like that. Same thing with the rear wheels. So you can see the rear wheels. It's a little bit less clear going to the rear wheels apparently. But there's the front view. And then you can take away the top-down view. If you don't want to have the top-down view, you can take that away and just see. You can have the full view of the front, the back, front, back, like that, or that. But typically you would want to have this top-down view and at least one of these other views. Now, when you're in gear, the little active guidelines will pop up here. So you can see the lines moving there. It also shows on the top-down view here as well. So yeah, the camera system is really good. I can talk about the camera system all day. But yeah, the camera system is good. This screen is fine. Now this software is, I like the intention to have very simple icons, very easy to navigate and simple. The only thing is some of the settings, you have settings here and then you have controls here. Now some of the settings are under controls and then the controls are under the settings. It seems like it's a little bit misplaced, so it's a little bit confusing if you don't know, right where to go. So the settings for, say, the heads-up display is here under controls. So you see this is a setting, right? So we have the brightness setting here, which during the day it's not really going to do much because it's going to do its own thing. All right, so that's one thing. Another thing is the headlight switch is here. So it's on the top of the screen. You have off, parking lights, and everything there. You also have a one-pedal drive button. So if you wanted to have real high regen and when you release the accelerator, it's going to like slow you down significantly, you can toggle that on or off here as well. But the main icons are your phone, navigation map. You have different views here. Whatever audio is playing. So let's go to satellite radio so you can see that. You have the presets there at the bottom. And then you have these widgets. And then you have the home screen, which is all the tiles here. It has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You can adjust the ambient lighting. And you have some information here with the charging. Now, this is important to set up when you first get the vehicle. So like right now I have it set to charge to 90%. You can also set a schedule as well. But you could just go like right here and just choose the percentage in which the maximum percentage that you want the vehicle to charge at. So, 80, sometimes people put at 80, 90, or even 100, depending on if they're going on a long trip or something. And then you have the charge later feature. So you don't have to charge right away. You can tell the vehicle to charge when you want it to charge, which is nice. So when you plug the vehicle in, it's going to show you the status of the charging here. So this is what it shows you. I have it set to charge to 90%. You can change that to 80 or 100, whatever you need to do. It gives you an idea of how many miles you have, the battery percentage here, and when it's going to be finished charging to the charging percentage that you have set. There's this little red light showing that it's charging. There's also a light up here that is flashing. You can see it more at nighttime, but it is a little light right there that flashes when it's charging. So yeah, it's it has Spotify, news, Waze, that kind of cool stuff. But yeah, I like the intention of having it simple and easy to navigate. A couple things that could be probably improved, but it's more so just me learning how to use the system better, I guess. Climate control is down here, and a lot of buttons for different fan speed where you want the air to blow, front and rear defrosters. You also have the heated and cooled seats here, 3-stage for the driver and passenger. There's also a heated steering wheel, which the button's right here. And you can see the little temperatures right there, what the driver and passenger temperatures are set at. Now it has a USB-C ports here, 12-volt power supply. Little storage area. It's kind of rubbery a little bit. Cup holders, wireless cell phone charger. Seems to work fine, even with the case on it. And the armrest is kind of rubbery soft. It lifts up, but it kind of drops back down on you. It doesn't stay up. Once you lift it all the way up here, maybe it'll stay there. Nope. All right, let's see if I can be very gentle with it. There we go. Now it's staying there. Okay, so we have this little quick access pocket that's falling back down on me again. All right, let me try this again. Okay, so there's the little quick access tray, which you can move it here, here, or just set it out of the way, I guess. Some vehicles have a little place to put it under there, but this one doesn't have it. And then there's a large compartment here. And I just have my business cards down there. Now, I wish it had a rear view camera. All it does is it just has a regular rear view mirror with this auto dimming. Now, you have the OnStar capabilities here as well, roadside assistance, little tap lights, and I have a night video showing you the pluses and minuses of the lights in the vehicle. And then you have the shade for the sunroof and tilt and slide there. I'll show you that in a second. Now, the visor is a cloth material just like the headliner. It has a mirror with lights. It does have this little clip on this side and it extends out, but you can see it doesn't extend all the way. So you know right where the sun's going to be, right there. All right, so the sunroof has a shade that covers 100% of the light. And so let's go ahead and move that back. And you see it's a panoramic sunroof, goes way back there, huge sunroof. All right, so this front section moves, the back portion is fixed. So let's go ahead and slide it back. And push it again. Yep, goes a little bit further back. So looking at the visibility here in the back, as you can see, there's a little bit of a visibility issue there with the far back pillar and the headrest there and the small window. And that's why I say that you can see there's, you know, it's not super bad or anything, but it's just something you have to get used to, especially these pillars here in the front. Those are an issue. They're wide and they're just like right there in the way. And so you just got to be aware that you have to watch out for that as you're driving these front pillars as well. So that's why I say if you had a rear view camera here, that would help out a lot with the visibility in the back, but it just doesn't have it. And this is the top trim. The new Honda Prologue is kind of interesting because, for one thing, it is a collaboration with General Motors, but also it's a new vehicle. It's like a completely new. Everything is new about it. Honda, people who are familiar with Hondas, they're not going to recognize any of this. And so there's a couple things that I have to explain in this video. One is this is a full EV. So a lot of people are not familiar with EVs, you know, and they're buying EVs for the first time, a lot of people, or at least shopping, or at least considering to buying an EV. And so that has that two factor there. One, it's an EV, one, it's a completely new vehicle. So as far as just like a vehicle, driving it regularly, it's very comfortable, and since it's an EV, it's very responsive, and it's not like the pin seating super acceleration like a lot of the performance EVs, but it does have a very satisfying feel to it. There's no transmission shifts or delay when you press the pedal. It just, you know, it goes, you know, but it's not like it's not gonna, you know, it's not a performance vehicle, you know, it's a family vehicle that has some decent acceleration, you know, I'll say that. But overall, I mean, it's quiet, comfortable, and roomy. That's like one of the biggest things, is that it's very roomy inside. Very impressively roomy. That's the thing when people see it, and I did too, was that you open the door. First of all, you look at it, you're like, wow, it's bigger than I thought it was. Second of all, you open the door, you're like, wow, it's even bigger on the inside than I thought it was, you know? The amount of space you have inside is, as far as passenger space, is very impressive. And cargo space and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's really hard to convey that on camera. So if you ever see one in person, you don't know what I'm talking about. So if you need a roomy vehicle, then this is definitely a good option, I would say, for a lot of people, you know, unless you want like a huge SUV or something. And having the hatchback, you know, makes it easy to put stuff in the cargo area and all that. So yeah, it's a type of vehicle that most people prefer nowadays. This is the type of vehicle that sells the most. The hatchback roomy, kind of SUV-ish type vehicle, you know, in that not too huge, not like a huge XXX Escalade or something. It's just a good size vehicle for the average person. So the combination of the EV part and the new vehicle, you know, like the EV, that is a major factor as far as, you know, how well that drives. Lower center of gravity and responsive acceleration, and, you know, it's fairly efficient. I mean, you know, you're getting 250, 275 is what it's rated at miles per a full charge, which is 100%. Typically on a daily basis, you wouldn't charge to 100%, you charge to 80, 90%, something like that. And then if you're going on a long trip, or if you need those extra miles, then you just bump it up to 100. Charging at home is pretty much essential because pretty much any vehicle, really, as far as an EV, if you're going to buy an EV, you really need to have a home charger. My personal recommendation is just don't buy an EV unless you have the ability to charge it at home, whether it be, you know, the electricity, the place to park it, a safe place to where you can plug in your charger into your vehicle without somebody stealing it, that kind of thing. Ideally, if you have a garage or whatever, but you know, a safe driveway is fine. But yeah, if you're at like an apartment complex, you don't have your own place to charge it and all that stuff, then probably a good idea to find something different. But so yeah, see, it accelerates fine in the accelerator, and that's just it's in normal mode. It's not in sport mode, which the sport mode is a little bit more responsive as far as the pedal, but it's not like much faster. You know, it doesn't feel like much of a difference. When you hit the accelerator to the floor, it just goes, you know. It gives you the acceleration that most people are going to need when they drive. And the heads-up display, I mentioned this before, that it's just kind of dim. And during the day, at nighttime it's fine, but during the day, you know, it needs to be brighter. It has that adaptive system where it doesn't matter how bright you put it, it's just going to dim down anyway. So it kind of does what it wants to do, which is not what I want it to do, which is unfortunate. The vehicle should cater to the user, not the other way around. But yeah, EVs, if you're not familiar, you know, it's not really a big deal as far as charging. A lot of people have they have the anxiety about range anxiety. Most people don't have range anxiety when they actually use the vehicle. It's just they like, whoa, I'm going to have range anxiety, so I'm going to have anxiety about that. Unless you're driving 4 or 5, you know, hours, 6 hours in the driver's seat, going full blast on the highway, if that's your normal daily thing where you're driving hours upon hours in the car every day or regularly, then, you know, the range that most electric vehicles have is adequate, you know, for most people. I mean, it's like you don't even have to charge every day, you know. Like I live in the middle of nowhere, and I have to drive, you know, 20 minutes or more everywhere I go, and I don't have to charge every day, you know. Like I left with, like, you know, 70% or something. You know, it's not really a big deal because I still have 200 miles that I can drive, and I'm not planning on taking a out-of-state road trip today. So, you know, I've got plenty of miles. I'll make it home. I probably won't even have to charge it for tomorrow. So yeah, the range anxiety thing is, you know, it's only for certain people that hop in a car and take off, you know, randomly, you know, and they don't really plan their trip or anything, and then all of a sudden, since they didn't plan, they're in this situation where they got to find a charger somewhere, which is going to be more expensive. A DC fast charger, it's going to be more expensive. They didn't plan for the trip, and then they start looking, they get low on miles, and there's no charger, you know, like they didn't plan it. There's no charger in the same exact spot they're in, or if there is, it doesn't work or whatever, you know. So yeah, you kind of have to, if you're going to go on a trip, you kind of have to plan it. And, you know, some vehicles, like Tesla, does a good job of, you know, planning it for you. You don't even have to think about it. But other manufacturers haven't got to that point yet. but maybe they will. Maybe they will. But yeah, I mean, I think is a pleasurable vehicle to drive for me. There's a few things that I think needs to be ironed out, especially at night. You know, the nighttime usability needs to be addressed, and some little areas I think would be better if it was. But yeah, I like the overall design, the main functionality of the software on the systems here. There's just a few things that just needs to be, like I said, ironed out. But I like the way everything's crisp and clear and large on the screen, and the intention of being very simple to navigate. But you know, it doesn't always deliver on that sometimes because it's a little bit weird. But yeah, and then being able to just kind of swap your views here on the screen by pressing a button on the steering wheel instead of going into some sub menu over here. Great idea. Yeah, roominess, comfort, quiet, and it's an EV on top of that, which is excellent. My most favorite driving experience is EVs, for sure. Once you get accustomed to an EV, when you get back into a gas car, then you start to notice all the different lags and different things that you didn't notice before. You just got used to it. You got used to hitting the accelerator and waiting a few seconds before the vehicle goes, you know. You've gotten used to every time the transmission shifts, there's a pause shift, you know, rev shift, rev shift, rev shift, rev shift. You get accustomed to all that. So when you get into an EV, you don't have any of that stuff. It's completely solved by the nature of the vehicle. Like you hit the accelerator, there's no lag. It's just instant, you know. This one depends on how, like if it's a real fast one, then it's like razor sharp. This one's a little bit softer, and I think it's intended that way to give people a softer driving experience. They don't have like whiplash every time they hit the accelerator. You know, it's kind of like a family vehicle or whatever. But yeah, some EVs are like razor sharp with the accelerator, and for performance is excellent. But daily driving, you know, if you're a passenger and you know you like accelerating all the time, and the passengers aren't going to really care for it too much after like the first 10 times, it might get a little old. But it's still, as a driver, it is EVs are very satisfying. So yeah, I don't know if you can tell that heads-up display. I can tell the speed very, very, it's very faint and very dim, but I can see the speed. But the rest of the little numbers there just kind of fade into the background. It's not really that useful during the day, this heads-up display. It's too bad because it is fairly sharp. When it is bright enough to see it, it looks really, really good. It is kind of limited on information. It just has speed, and then for some reason way over to the left and up is the what you have your cruise control set, and then just directly below the speed is your speed sign, road sign assistance. So it's basically your speed limit sign right now. So I can barely make out, but yeah, it's kind of weird the way the layout of it. But yeah, if it was brighter and that you can actually control the brightness and instead of the vehicle controlling it for you, then it would be way better. And the cruise control, you know, has the adaptive cruise control. Now the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, even at the furthest distance, is a little bit, just slightly too close for me. I like to have a little bit more distance. So, you know, but it varies depending on people. And also I've been experiencing some phantom braking. I was filming the night video last night, and it just all of a sudden it just started braking when I was driving. You know, it would just fairly significant braking, and then I'm like, what's in front of me? You know, like maybe I'm not seeing something. but it was just nothing there, and it just all of a sudden started braking. It happened several times last night. Seems like it's more of a night thing than a day thing. I hadn't really experienced it during the day. Now I wish it had a rear view camera up here instead of just a rear view mirror. The rear view mirror is kind of small, so is the back glass with all the headrests and everything getting in the way. So if it had the rear view camera, that would definitely be much better. Now the camera down here is really good. 360 camera, front and rear cameras and all that stuff, customizable. You can have different views and everything is very sharp, clear, and just really well done. But the rear view mirror needs to have the rear view camera as well. I think that would just be much better. So when I put it in sport mode, it has more engine braking, or, you know, regen braking, but it kind of simulates that engine braking. So it gives you a little bit more responsive pedal and a little bit softer pedal with the normal mode. And when you accelerate, the overall maximum acceleration doesn't feel that much more. It's just you have a more responsive pedal, and that's been my experience with it. But when you let off the accelerator, just that regen braking just kind of slows you down. So, you know, if you're in a certain situation, maybe that the sport mode might be fine, but you're not going to get, like, it doesn't feel like you're getting any actual speed out of the vehicle. It's just more responsive pedal. Now there is an issue with these front pillars as far as visibility. They're a little bit wide, and they're now just in that spot right here that's it just tends to get in the way. And they even put a speaker in it so big, these front pillars. I mean, like a large speaker, and then there's space on either side. So I'm not sure really what's going on with that, but you know, the way they designed the vehicle. But anyways, it's something you have to get used to. All vehicles have blind spots. So they're in the back, it's not all that great as far as visibility, and even here on the front. And it's kind of been, you know, have had some issues with that. Trying to, you know, bob and weave looking around it, trying to just do normal driving. So yeah, just something to consider.